Welcome back to GrowBooks, the channel where we explore books that help us think more clearly, live more confidently, and create positive changes in our lives. Today, we're looking at 3 books that can help you quiet a racing mind. You know the feeling. Your body is tired, but your thoughts refuse to slow down. You replay conversations, worry about tomorrow, and try to solve problems that cannot be solved at 2 o'clock in the morning. These 3 books offer different ways to step back from overthinking and develop a calmer relationship with your thoughts. Let's begin. The first book is The Happiness Trap by Russ. This is one of the most practical books for people who feel trapped inside anxious or repetitive thinking. The book is based on acceptance and commitment therapy, commonly known as ACT. Its central message is that constantly trying to eliminate difficult thoughts and emotions can give them even more power. When an uncomfortable thought appears, we often fight against it. We tell ourselves, I shouldn't be thinking like this. Why can't I switch off? I need to get rid of this feeling. Now we are not only dealing with the original worry, we are also frustrated with ourselves for having it. Russ suggests learning to notice thoughts without automatically accepting them as facts. Instead of saying, I'm going to fail, you might say, I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail. That small change creates distance between you and the thought. It reminds you that something can appear in your mind without being true or requiring immediate action. The book also teaches that we do not need to wait for every fear to disappear before living our lives. We can experience anxiety or self-doubt while still taking steps towards what matters. If your racing mind is driven by worry, emotional discomfort, or the need to control every outcome, The Happiness Trap is an excellent place to begin. The second book is Chatter by Kross. We all have an inner voice. It helps us plan, reflect, and make sense of our experiences. But sometimes that voice begins replaying mistakes, imagining disasters, and repeating questions that never lead to useful answers. That is what Kross calls chatter. The problem is not simply that we talk to ourselves. It is how we talk to ourselves when we are stressed. When we become emotionally caught inside a problem, a small mistake can begin to feel like proof that everything is going wrong. Kross offers practical techniques for creating psychological distance. One is to speak to yourself using your own name, as though you were advising another person. Instead of thinking, why can't I handle this? You might ask, Jim, what is the next helpful step you can take? This can help you move from being completely absorbed in the problem to viewing it from a calmer perspective. You can also imagine what advice you would offer a friend facing the same situation. We are often more balanced and compassionate when helping someone else than when speaking to ourselves. Chatter is especially useful if you continually revisit past mistakes or difficult conversations. It explains why the mind does this and offers practical ways to interrupt the cycle. The third book is Don't Believe Everything You Think by Nguyen. Its central message is simple. Not every thought deserves your attention. A thought can feel urgent without being important. It can feel true without being supported by evidence. It can appear repeatedly without needing to be solved. Imagine remembering an awkward conversation from earlier in the day. That memory may appear automatically, but the suffering often grows from what comes next. Why did I say that? What must they think of me? What if I damage the relationship? One memory quickly becomes an entire story. Nguyen encourages readers to notice thoughts without continuing to feed the storyline. This message can be particularly useful at night, when the mind tries to convince us that every concern must be resolved before we can rest. Sometimes the healthiest response is simply, this thought has appeared, but I don't have to follow it. The book is short, accessible, and more reflective than clinical. It may feel too simple for readers who want a detailed psychological workbook, but that simplicity can also be its strength. Which book should you read first? If anxiety and difficult emotions are controlling your choices, begin with The Happiness Trap. If you repeatedly analyze conversations, mistakes, and stressful situations, try Chatter. If you want a short and straightforward reminder that you do not need to follow every thought, choose Don't Believe Everything You Think. All three books share one important message. You do not have to make your mind completely silent to find peace. You can notice a worry without treating it as a prediction. You can remember a mistake without replaying it for hours. You can also allow an unanswered question to wait until tomorrow. A racing mind does not always need another answer. Sometimes, it simply needs permission to stop searching. If I were recommending one book as the most complete starting point, I would choose The Happiness Trap. However, each of these books has something valuable to offer. Thank you for watching GrowBooks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments which book you would choose. Check the description for links to the books and other helpful resources, including Quiet Nights, Stop Overthinking, and Finally Sleep Peacefully. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and be kind to your mind.